Well, hello again, hello again. It's the Midnight Skeptic coming at you once again on this Friday. Today is Friday, the 19th. And this will go out on kpca.fm worldwide and locally at 103.3 FM. If anybody out there still listens to FM radio, that'll be all going out on this Sunday, the 21st at 9 p.m. Okay, and on YouTube, as soon as I get through with all this recording and downloading and all that stuff, I've got to apologize for last week's show because, I was scraggly bearded and my throat was kind of, it sounded like I had gravel in it. But I've since gotten my beard cut off. I went to my Supercuts and told them to just get rid of all of it except for the mustache. The YouTube people can see this beautiful mustache right above my lip. Okay. And like I say, today is Friday the 19th. Tomorrow is 420. There will be a celebration, even though officially it's been canceled in San Francisco on Hippie Hill in the outer reaches of the Golden Gate Park. Even though it's been canceled officially, people will show up. And then also at Lagunitas here in Petaluma, 420 is always a big thing there. And I encourage all my listeners to go to Lagunitas, get yourself a beer, and enjoy whatever events they're going to have going on tomorrow, 420. This is the Midnight Skeptic yet again. Okay, I've got my notes in front of me now. Giving you all out there locally in Sonoma County, 103.3 FM this Sunday night at 9:30, and worldwide kpca.fm and on YouTube ASAP. My play-in music. Well, here we go. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not, repeat, not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, the continuing mission statement of the Midnight Skeptic is to rid this country of all GOP MAGA heads. And if just regular old intelligent Republicans get swept aside in this ridding effort, well, so be it. That's your fault for being a Republican. Hillary Clinton was right on when she characterized the orange sociopathic bloat bag's base as the deplorables. It probably hurt her a little bit in the election at 2016, but she was right on in her assessment of the base, and they're still hanging around. There are no intelligent, well-read, or read at all members of the orange sociopathic bloat bag's base. His election in 2016 and even going back before the election a little bit ushered in what I call a dark age in this country. history books will not treat this era of American politics kindly. And it started when the orange sociopathic bloat bag became a birther and lied to anybody who will let him on their talk show that he sent his investigators over to Hawaii to demand a long form birth certificate because there were certain ignorant people that just believed that Obama was born in Kenya. Okay. All right. The dark age in this country will be rectified, I hope, by the court proceedings that are going on now or the 2024 election, where I am confident, and mark the words of the Midnight Skeptic, the orange sociopathic bloat bag will not win in 2024. I am extremely confident of that. And we will have 4 more years of Joe Biden, who is doing a very good job despite Republicans. Okay. The shout outs. Okay. Project Censored. I always start every show now with mentioning Project Censored and Mickey Huff and his 3 cohorts, Nolan Higdon and Andy Lee Roth. All of them are professors at 3 different colleges. Mickey Huff is right across the bay over in Diablo Valley College, where he's a part-time history professor. I don't know how many courses per week he actually teaches, but he's there. And he and his family live in a town somewhere up near Sacramento. I forget what it is right now. But go to their website, Project Censored, and sign up for their newsletter online and order the State of the Free Press 2023. They come out with a new one every year. Okay? Get on their mailing list. You'll be wiser for having done that. Okay. Locally, John Crowley at Aquas Cafe, and he has created a community at the Aquas Cafe of various groups, artistic groups, nonprofit groups, and so on. Once every month or every 2 months, there's an event called Drinks with Shrinks, where all the local therapists come out of the woodwork and gather there and schmooze and have drinks and exchange information, not about their patients, but I've attended a couple of them, even though I'm not an official therapist, although I sort of have been to my many tutoring students over the years. I haven't been tutoring in, since all of this all of these health issues kind of set in and scuttled my career as a tutor. Okay, I'll go into that later at a different show. Okay. And Tom Gaffey at the Phoenix Theater, he is sort of the kindly uncle to alternative teens that like to hang out there and skateboard down where the seats used to be. And they have musical performances there. And go on their website and see what their musical schedule is. Their music tends to lean toward grunge and metal, and I think that's fair to say. Okay, and locally, I'm still locally here. Ralph Scott, who is attempting to resurrect the Petaluma radio players. And I don't think it's going well, but if he does succeed in getting them up and going again, more power to him. I will contribute my 2 cents worth, and believe me, that's all it's worth. Tim Conrad, Tom and Nancy Throw. Tom, I enjoyed our lunch together yesterday. Kevin and Lori, Dave and Rosita Takach in Sacramento, Rich and Kathy in Sebastopol, Dennis and Megan down in Tiburon. Dennis is my a computer and electronics technician consultant. I haven't needed him lately, but he's there. He's just a phone call away if something should go wrong in my recording of this. Sip of water here coming up. Okay. Yvonne and Rick in San Francisco, Stan and Kathy down in Pacifica, Aunt Jackie and her 2 daughters, Samantha and Melanie. I think Melanie is back east somewhere in Tennessee or Kentucky. I'm not sure. Anyway, she listens in occasionally. My brother Brandon and his wife Mina down in the Santan Valley area near Phoenix, Arizona, and their daughter Andrea, who is a nurse down there, and her husband Tim, retired Marine. Booyah! And their 3 little boys. And down in the southwest corner of Arizona in Patagonia, the animal control officer, Karina Hilliard, whose specialty is snake removal. So if you're living down there and have a rattlesnake curled up in a nice warm spot on your kitchen floor, call Patagonia Animal Control, and Karina will come right away and remove the snake. She and I met at a Skeptics conference about 5 years ago down in Las Vegas. And she was a biology major in college. And actually, we have not been in contact in about 4 years. So I'm not really 100% sure that she's still an animal control officer, but she does love them snakes and spiders and everything like that. Okay, in Arkansas, Shannon Reed in real estate, and she started up a massage practice again. She was a massage therapist here in Sonoma at the Fairmont Hotel and Spa, right over the mountains in Sonoma. And in Florida, Nelson and Alice Lydell. And also in Florida, Amelia Beamer, who, if you go on YouTube and go to Locus magazine, Locus, you'll dredge her up, and she will tell you which books Locus magazine is reviewing this month of the 3 genres: science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And she'll tell you what they're reviewing. And if you're a fan of those 3 genres, that's where you should go. And then up the coast a ways, Dr. Dave in Raleigh-Durham in North Carolina, the world's greatest pulmonary physician, who stopped being a pulmonary doctor and went to work for SmithGlaxoKline, from which company he retired and went into art, both painting and sculpture and found objects. And his take on reality is something to behold. So go to his website, davidrubinpainting.org, I think, or it could be .com. I'm not sure, but look him up. It's well worth it. Okay, and up the coast further to Long Island, Geraldine Goldfinger, and back on the west coast, the Sonora Crowd, Robert Finnegan, and Bob and Sandy Fisher, and their two children, Brad and Martha, and Dara Larson, Judy May, Kathy Francis, Lynn Quayle, who splits her time between Sonora and Manhattan because she owns a rent-controlled, I think it's called an apartment, or I'm not sure what else you would call it, but it's rent-controlled, and she has to be back there for about 6 months out of every year to maintain the rent-controlled status of the apartment that she owns. Okay, Lynn Quayle. John Gleason up in Twain Harte and his two daughters, Tiffany and Jennifer, and then all the way down in Mexico City, Rosamalia Lopez Negrete, and she sends along, at least on my Facebook page, these fantastic pictures of very exotic birds, and I don't know for sure whether they're all native to southern Mexico, but whoever takes those pictures is doing a good job of it. They're beautiful birds. Okay, where am I? Okay, a subscription recommendation. Zeteo. Okay, I'll spell it for you. Capital Zeteo. And it's a whole Substack site, and it was founded by Mehdi Hassan, Mehdi Hassan. Now, he used to be a correspondent on MSNBC, where I go to for all my lefty propaganda. I like Chris Hayes and all the whole gang at MSNBC. But I don't listen to all of them all the time, although to some people it may seem like that. But anyway, he was let go, or he chose to leave. I'm not sure of the infighting there at MSNBC, but he started a new one, and he has a raft of correspondence on Zeteo. W. Kamau Bell is one of them, and I really like him a lot. Naomi Klein, Greta Thunberg, the Swedish environmentalist protesters from Sweden. She now has a site where she can mouth off about her concerns, and I say that in the kindest way possible. Okay. And if you want to be a paying subscriber, it's just $8 a month, which is not much. And if you like Mehdi Hassan, do that now. Okay. Real bad news in Sarasota, Florida. Look out, Nelson and Alice. Okay, they're right in your backyard. The Sarasota Memorial Hospital's board of directors is being targeted for a takeover by the crazy anti-vaxxers, including Michael Flynn's, the traitorous U.S. retired general in the Trump administration. His sister, an anti-vaxxer, Mary Flynn is her name, and she's also a QAnon believer. I don't know what there is to believe about the QAnon thing, but they're just as crazy as you might imagine. Okay, new topic. And let me get my religion bashing out of the way. The Bible commands us to. Okay, I'm going to list a whole bunch of things here. And the site that I stumbled upon lists all of the chapters and verses where these actually appear. And I'm not going to give them all to you, except for 2 or 3 really key commandments that the Bible, the Old Testament, the Word of God says. Okay, kill witches, kill adulterers, kill blasphemers, kill false prophets. The Bible is just getting warmed up. Kill fortune tellers. Okay, here's a good one. Kill non-Hebrews. Okay, now that comes from Deuteronomy 20:16 through 17. So anybody who's a non-Hebrew, look out. The Christians are coming for you. Another sip of water. Okay. Kill sons of sinners. Well, what about daughters of sinners? Shouldn't they be killed too? I don't know. The Bible doesn't say that. And the Bible, as we all know, is the Word of God. Okay. Kill gays. Okay. Now this comes from Leviticus 20:13 and Romans 1:21 through 32. Kill non-believers. Kill anyone who curses God. Kill all males after winning battles. Okay, all the survivors who are just laying there wounded after an onslaught by, I don't know, what tribe are they referring to? I guess Hebrews. I guess you should kill all non-Hebrews. So anyway, after you win a battle with non-Hebrews, just kill all the wounded combatants. Kill disobedient children. Kill those who work on the Sabbath. Kill any bride discovered to be not a virgin. Kill men who have sex with other men. And that's from, again, Leviticus 20:13. Okay, I'm going to end it there. There was a few more on this site that I stumbled on, but the Bible, this is the Old Testament. All of these things are from the Old Testament, and modern day evangelical Christians rely mostly on the New Testament that talks about Jesus, and they say that the Bible or Christianity is all about love. Well, here you go. God himself is telling good Christians to go out and kill all the aforementioned individuals that I mentioned here. And it's right from the Bible. Okay. Whew, bad news. A proposed law to require the display of the Ten Commandments in all Louisiana K through 12 schools, colleges, and universities advanced this last Wednesday in the legislature and was amended to include private institutions. House Bill 71, if anybody out there wants to look it up, and State Representative Dodie Horton, capital Horton, a Republican, of course, from Houghton in Louisiana, Haughton, said the Ten Commandments will provide moral guidance to students through a historical document she attributes as the source of all laws in the United States. And it was on May 23rd of 2023, this was originally introduced. My notes are screwed up. Okay, May 23rd, 2023, House Bill 837 is a bill. No LGBTQ topics should be discussed or taught or mentioned in schools. And it's to protect innocence of our school kids and to stop indoctrination. Christians are so sneaky. They think that shoving Bible verses and documents down everybody's throat is the way to spread the word of God. And they're just so underhanded. And of course, they feel, they being Christian fundamentalists, believe that anything goes as long as you're spreading the word of Jesus. Lying to people is okay as long as you'll bring more souls to Jesus. About 25 or so years ago, it was after I moved up here with my wife Patty, I was visited at my front door by a pair of Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or Mormons, who wanted to talk about Jesus. I invited them in, and I wasn't going to be mean to them, but I wasn't going to hold back from letting them know that I was an unbeliever and that religion just wasn't a part of my life at all, and had not been for a long, long time since I was a little kid. But anyway, we talked a while, and I brought up all the usual gripes with Mormonism about the gold plates, and that Joseph Smith was a scam artist, and their treatment of women in general. Forget the polygamy, but even non-polygamous Mormons relegate women to the lesser role in the marriage. And, you know, the whole litany of things. We were having I wouldn't say a nice discussion, but a frank discussion. And when they decided that the discussion was over and excused themselves, One of them pulled out a picture of Jesus and kind of leaned it against the couch. And at the time, when I saw them do this, but I didn't think of this at the time. I ushered them out the door and told them to have a nice evening. But what did they expect? That I would pick up the picture of Jesus and suddenly be converted, or the feeling of holiness would come over me and I would be converted? I don't know. I don't know what their thinking was, but they did that. Anyway, I put the picture of Jesus in the recycled paper bag that I collect my newspapers in. But they're sneaky that way. I don't know if they knew that I saw them do this. I don't know. I don't know what their motivation was, but that's how Christians think. If they sneak a picture or something, they're hoping that a miracle will occur and that I will be converted. Well, who knows what the thinking is of idiotic Christians? Okay. Deep breath and a water sip. Okay, how long have I been ranting? Half an hour. Ooh, boy. More bad news from the GOP's southern states. The Alabama Senate just passed a bill to punish companies that recognize unions. Any entity that does so will not be eligible for economic development incentives. This cynical attack on workers comes as Alabama Mercedes, which is a car factory, workers approach a vote on joining the United Auto Workers. It is Senate Bill 231, introduced by State Senator Arthur Orr, O-R-R, a Republican, of course. They are anti-union. He submitted the bill. Governor Kay Ivey has criticized unionizing efforts. Mercedes workers have filed charges with the National Labor Relations Board, accusing the company of union-busting tactics. Okay, more bad news. Oil and gas companies recently gathered in Houston for the industry's annual conference, and most of the companies in attendance walked back their promises to decarbonize. The head of Saudi Aramco said, and this is a quote, "The fantasy of phasing out oil and gas should be ditched." Al Gore, who should have won the 2000 election, said, "I didn't think their pledges were sincere in the first place." Well, they weren't. After the Russian invasion of Ukraine, demand in Europe for fossil fuels, especially from Russia, shot up. Prices shot up, and profits of large companies went up. Investors pressured the large companies to take advantage of the windfall profits and to produce more oil and gas. Pledges be damned. Gore says we must stop the subsidies. Hear, hear. And we have to tax carbon. We got to go to renewable energy, battery storage, circular manufacturing. And all of these things must continue apace, unabated. Okay. Good news. The Orange Sociopathic Bloat Bags trial in New York is proceeding apace. As of, I wrote this yesterday, as of today, April 18th, 12 jurors have been chosen and one alternate. Today, Friday, and I haven't seen my lefty propaganda news shows yet. They've got to choose 5 more alternate jurors. Okay. Tomorrow, Friday, I wrote this yesterday. The 6 alternates will be chosen, and opening arguments will begin on Monday. The Orange Sociopathic Bloat Bag is bored. Oh my God. And occasionally he dozes off. He still, however, is calling President Biden Sleepy Joe. 9 o'clock in the morning is way too early for his bloatedness to get up and going. Typically, when he was in the White House during the dark ages of our country's history, he wouldn't get up until about 10. And by the time he got all his makeup on and his hair brushed, he probably has some helpers having him do this. And he would show up down in the White House office to actually do some work, such as it was. It would be about 11 or 11:30. His workday didn't start till around lunchtime, where he was scarfing down his hamburgers and Diet Coke, I think. Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. Either way. His co-defendant down in Florida, and I'm having a brain freeze on the guy's name, but he was the guy that would wait on the Orange Sociopathic Bloat Bag hand and foot and hand him his Diet Pepsis. Oh man, I wish I could remember that guy's name. Anyway, doesn't matter. So next week, and hopefully for the next 2, not more than 3 weeks, we will be hearing testimony from witnesses, and hopefully the jury will find him guilty of falsifying corporate financial records. Unfortunately, the word for this trial is the payoff. The payoff trial, the Stormy Daniels thing. That's not entirely accurate. What he's being accused of is falsifying corporate financial records. And of course, he didn't actually do it himself. He just told his minions to do it for him. He's too stupid to know how to do it himself. Okay. Okay, another water sip. Okay, good news. The big 5 publishers in the United States will join a lawsuit challenging an Iowa state law banning certain books in schools and limits the teachings on sexual orientation and gender identity. SF 496 requires only, this is the Iowa bill, requires only age appropriate books. Well, who gets to say what's age appropriate? Not the ignorant Republicans, although they would be the ones to do it. Okay, when the ignorant MAGA head Republicans say there shouldn't be any teaching about sexual orientation or gender identity, what does the word teaching mean? You know, I've been in education for a long time, and kids don't, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that kids don't learn by teaching. The word teaching means way, way more than just mentioning something. It requires a whole raft of educational materials in addition to the teacher saying something to the class and having it be absorbed as part of the brains of the students. Teaching is not easy. It requires more than just talking about something, although you would never know that from listening to the stupid MAGA heads. Okay? Teaching is way more than just having a picture of your same-sex spouse on your desk. If a kid comes up to a teacher's desk who happens to be in a same-sex relationship and he or she has a picture of their spouse on their desk and the kid asks about it, according to the stupid MAGA heads, that would be teaching LGBTQ topics. I should use all these sound effects more than I do. Okay. Anyway, you get the idea. Republicans, GOP, MAGA heads, followers of the orange sociopathic bloat bag should just get the hell out of education in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Now, where was I? I'm ranting, which is what I do. I rant. Okay, speaking of ranting, I rant on about various topics each week. But in rankings as to the threat to human happiness, there are long-term threats and short-term threats. I rant about environmental issues, which include the fossil fuel companies' evil profits, consumerism, and capitalism in general. Those I consider long-term. I also rant about the horrible GOP and MAGA heads and the orange sociopathic bloat bag. Their reliance on the fundamentalist Christian hate base and their billionaire backers. Okay, religion, as I've said many times on other rants, religion, all of them, I view, hopefully, as a short-term threat to human happiness. And make no mistake about it, all religions are anti-humanistic and specifically misogynistic. Women don't fare very well in any religion. Okay. New topic. Bad news. In the United Nations, the United States vetoed a draft resolution that would allow Palestine to become a full member state. It has been a permanent observer since 2012, but it has no voting power. In 2011, the Palestinian Authority, led by Mahmoud Abbas, bid for full UN membership. The U.S. pressure caused the bid to be dropped. The Palestinian Authority was accepted into UNESCO in 2011, but the U.S. cut funding to UNESCO. I disagree with all this. The Palestinian or Palestine proto-state should have a voting permanent membership in the UN, in my opinion. Palestinians should be represented, in my opinion, and the Kurdish peoples should be represented as well. And while we're on that topic, a representative of overall, over the whole planet, indigenous peoples should have a voting representation in the United States General Assembly. There is an organization in the United States, in the United Nations, representing a conference of indigenous peoples around the whole planet. Now, they discuss problems and give recommendations to the General Assembly in general, but, of course, they have no voting power. But I think there should be one representative that is a indigenous peoples representative. It wouldn't dilute the power of all the other countries' votes in the General Assembly. Okay, where are we? Oh, got to get going. This is kind of the last topic. Okay, but not before a sip of water. Good news. The Biden administration issued new regulations concerning Title IX, which now includes transgender youth. I, the Midnight Skeptic, was an assistant wrestling coach down at Aragon High School in San Mateo in, going way back, 1972, when Title IX was enacted. And most of the other PE teachers were all in a tizzy about this. And there were jokes flung around the locker room about having to wear pink exercise outfits or having to allow women on the varsity football team, all sorts of crap like that. I kept my mouth shut, although I agreed with Title IX. And today, 50 years later, women's basketball is getting to be more popular, women's college basketball, more popular than men's college basketball, as evidenced by the television viewership of the NCAA Women's Championship basketball game. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic. Title IX, which now includes transgender youth. Senator Patty Murray, Democrat from Washington, said, quote, "Trans youth deserve to play sports with their friends just like anyone else." Right on, Patty Murray. She urged the Department of Education to issue the sports regulations formally sooner rather than later. The proposed regulations may bar trans athletes from, quote unquote, competitive teams. Blanket bans on trans athletes, which is a favorite GOP MAGA head hateful tactic, would be disallowed. Right on. Okay, now, this is going to be my opinion. Well, let me read the rest of this from my notes. Conservative backlash was very quick. And this is a quote. "Under this rule, equal rights for female athletes are history." Well, who said that? Penny Nance. She's president of Concerned Women for America. And of course, anytime an organization uses concerned in their title, you know that they're a conservative MAGA hate group. And the quote goes on, those 50 years of women's achievements can now go to men pretending to be women. Of course, she is an ignorant jerk. Penny Nance, if you're listening to this, which I know you're not, you are an ignorant jerk. And I will have a little segment on her and who she is and what her background is on next week's show. Okay. There are, according to the Williams Institute, which is down at UCLA, there are, according to the Williams Institute, about 300,000 students who identify as transgender in the whole U.S., which is not many, but more than enough to freak out Republican haters. Okay, and that is out of 3.6 million students identifying as some form of LGBTQ. The percent of those 300,000 trans students who want to play sports is exceedingly small. And especially in the K through 8 grammar schools, some trans girl is maybe a 4th or 5th or 6th grader, just wants to run on the school track team with her friends, with her girlfriends, and this seems to freak out Republicans. Anything will freak out Republicans. Okay, now they will always trot out the problem of Leah Thomas and all the other older transgender athletes. Now, to reiterate who Leah Thomas is, she was a University of Pennsylvania swimmer. Now, she swam on the men's swimming team, and she was a good swimmer back in high school, and she trained a lot to be a very, very good swimmer. Okay, she enrolled at University of Pennsylvania, and as a sophomore, I don't know how long she had the condition of gender dysphoria, but she wanted to be happy in her own body. So she went on a hormone transitioning regimen. And in her senior year, she swam on the women's team. And she complied with all the NCAA regulations at that time, so that she could swim as a woman. And she did quite well. I think she won an NCAA first place. But anyway, in my opinion, I wish Leah Thomas well in her happiness with her new gender. But I think that kids who are born with male sex, gender, sexuality, and so on, it's a complicated issue. And they decide to go with their gender dysphoria and transition. They have to do it before puberty sets in, because puberty increases their muscles and bone density and red blood cell delivery of oxygen, and so on. I'm going to go into this topic a little more in depth on next week's show. I've got to play my out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. Please, please, please pet your cats. You'll never know how long they will be around. Okay, until next week, this is the Midnight Skeptic checking out.